So it's Steph Intuitive Soul Sparks here today with Ian from Rising Seer. He's actually the founder. I really kind of begged him to do this. He was more than willing. He's a Sad Rising, so he was like, yeah, sure. To be fair, there's no kind of, investigative journalism happening here either.
You
So
should bring it on.
yeah.
Bring it on. Let's go.
He's an open book. Actually, I am curious because I want to know how it all started. Not Rising Seer specifically, which we are here to talk about, but more how did you get into astrology? Like, what did that look like?
My gateway drug was tarot. So I loved tarot cards. On the moment by moment basis, switch between tarot or tarot. So I'm pretty sure the proper pronunciation is tarot, but I always just revert.
It's funny you said that because I was going to interrupt you and trying hard not to be like, have I been mispronouncing it my entire life? It's
I
totally
don't know.
possible. Like I say Uranus, right? And everybody likes to say Uranus. So
Uranus, right? Yeah. And I mean, pronunciation's in the eye of the beholder, I think, maybe. Whatever. It's fine. I made up that phrase right now. It's not. I'm trying to be generous. So anyways, with tarot, with that basis, I also use the primary deck of tarot that most people know is called the Rider-Waite deck. It's the very classical looking, sort of medieval looking pictures, and I use Thoth, which is the second most popular deck, and the reason why is because just visually I found it so interesting. And then whether it was destiny or not, as it turns out, not only is it more visually interesting, but the way it was designed is it pulls in all these different realms of knowledge. Here's my deck. I had it handy too. But here we are looking at the moon. And then you can see at the bottom, it also has a little Pisces symbol, right?
the moon rules Cancer. So that's interesting.
There you go. So this is the level of depth that I cannot wait for Rising Seer to be able to get to, right? That was my jumping off point in astrology, is I wanted to know astrology better as the basis to understand. It started when I moved to Marin. I had a friend, Morgan, shout out Morgan, that knew tarot really well. She sort of showed me, I was like, this is freaking really cool. And so then I just started exploring. And so that was, 2019?
Yeah, like before the pandemic, basically.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this separately, and it's a good reminder that, within a natal chart is fixed, right? The planets were where they were when you were born. But that does not mean that is your locked-in definition for life of how you are, because planets have a natural evolutionary expression of, being underexpressed or overexpressed or evolved, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But then
I usually say like high expression or low expression, but it's the exact same idea. It's like a fullness or a wholeness. And so the opportunity is discovering the pieces that you're not identifying with, really.
because someone has a theoretically naturally high expression of some planet in their chart doesn't mean that necessarily they're even manifesting that yet. So they're more inclined to, they're more naturally able to, but it doesn't mean that it's happening. Or opposite could be true, that someone has theoretically something that's pulled to a lower expression, but they've already grown out of it. They've grown beyond it because of their life circumstances and their path. And so the way that I understood astrology before I knew anything about it was, okay, so there's 12 sun signs, and then that's supposed to tell me exactly how I am. And I read in the newspaper. I am old enough that I remember physical newspapers, and I remember there would be a horoscope section where each sun sign had a horoscope. And I'm like, so I'm one of 12 buckets in the world that this is what my day looks like, and this is true for everyone? Okay, no thanks. Like, bye. Zero interest in it. I thought it was stupid.
I mean, to be honest, like it's not willfully ignorant because people don't know the difference. So stupid is probably not the right term, but it is ignorant to some degree because, now there's so many things to take into account, so on and so forth.
Yes. This has been true about every single realm of life, let alone whether it's more mystical or whether it's technical or whether it's relationships or whatever. It's just every time I get deeper into something, I'm like, wow, there's way more here that I realized than I did. I didn't see it because I only saw the top 1% of that glacier and the rest of it was underwater. So the whole perspective I came at Rising Seer from originally was, how do I make an app? And when I come at it from that perspective, it's what data do I need access to? And then realizing that, I'm looking at my chart, I'm looking at other people's chart, I'm looking at how to interpret those charts. And I realized I really want to know, I have 5 retrograde planets. I have 3 retrograde planets that are in domicile. How often does that happen? And then quickly found out that no one has that. And so I built that.
Can you tell me about that? Can you tell me a bit more about what that entails, like how you determine that rarity?
There's some statisticians or data nerds watching this. Feel free to hit me up and debate me on my methodology here, because you could argue that there'd be better ways of doing it. But the way that we did it is started with a sample quis ephemeris, which is the industry standard for astrological and astronomical calculations of planetary positions based on timestamp and also based on your latitude and longitude. So then, you can accurately calculate your rising sign. And what I did was, first of all, is I was talking to all of the AIs at the time about what resources are available for rarity, how would you do it? And the answers quickly became clear that there was no resource for it. And that really the only way to do it is to just calculate a whole lot of charts and then see what the incidence of those various configurations were. I already have a V2 and a V3 of rarity that's like in the pipeline that will have like a whole bunch more features and really cool stuff. I can't wait to get there eventually. But for right now, even V1 just has a level of depth that you can't find in any other astrology app, which I find exciting. But the methodology was start from the year 0, go to the year 5000, and then calculate natal charts on 15-minute increments from the year 0 to the year 5000. And that was our starting point.
Okay, so the rarity chart uses 100 and how many charts? Sorry, is it 180?
So 180 million was the number that I ended up using for the majority of the calculations. You actually calculate the number. If you do 15-minute increments from the year 0 to the year 5000, it's many more than that. But what I ended up doing is honing in on a sample that was slightly smaller, that was still 100% representative of the larger set, and then using that for the calculations. Because like literally, I have a super high-powered PC with 32 cores of processing power, and to generate that initial data set, it still was like an all-night exercise. Came back the next day and had a data set to calculate incremental things I wanted to look. Then I figured out that the data set from the year 1500 to the year 2500 was almost exactly the same percentages of incidence between the year 0 to the year 5000. So I was like, okay, let's use that instead, which surprised me.
Was there ever a time in this like entire process where you just wanted to like throw in the towel?
Oh,
or you were just like
many times.
many?
I remember specifically getting a piece of feedback after that August version, the really bad one, where I got a piece of feedback from a guy who's very successful. He's a good friend. So he looked at it and he said, this was cool, and I would be embarrassed to show this to a VC team. And I was like, oh, okay.
We talked about all those retrograde planets you have. So you already have this like crazy engine internally that's going to say it's not enough, do more, or like you don't belong, you suck.
It literally landed in my stomach. I'm not too proud to admit it, that I literally held it together on the call and then hung up the call and cried a little bit, like just for a couple minutes.
Cried so hard.
And now he's like willing to put me in front of VCs to raise money for it. Sometimes the only way out is through. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just like, rather than trying to tiptoe my way around or make this iteration, it's like, nope, gotta start over. So I did.
You had everything basically already, like even just all the knowledge. You knew how to put it back like how you wanted it, essentially. It sounds like you needed to hear it that way. Like, frankly, like in order to actually be able to let that version go, you actually had to like be on your knees, which I mean, it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. No. I'm a stubborn soul who requires that. But unfortunately, that's a lot of the times where the growth happens, right? Which clearly
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. Yeah.
There was definitely hard times, but ultimately those hard times inevitably, by the sounds of things, resulted in this, what we have now. What is what? How do you want to describe it to people? Like what the app is?
There is such a anti-AI revolt going on, especially within astrology. And I would argue that it's for good reason, because 99% of the stuff I've seen put out there from astrology apps related to AI is either just a shameless cash grab or really poorly implemented and thought out implementations of what AI in astrology could be. And to me, they solve none of the actual pain points, and they solve none of the actual potential of what an LLM can do with astrology data. And that is
and they turn people away from astrology by providing misinformation. But as soon as you do that and they can't identify with it, then the whole framework is crap. It's not just that particular perspective.
What I had was the framework for what I wanted to do. And I think you and I have talked about this, that you've even given some of your own interpretive framework to ChatGPT. and then you have it run through that framework, and then it actually has useful outputs. And so that's what I realized very early on is like, I can ask it for, here's my birth date, here's my location, here's my time, what's my natal chart. And it gladly hallucinated the whole thing, including my sun sign. It's like, bro, how do you, I'm not even on the cusp. Like I'm May
It doesn't
May
even
27th.
read the chart. Like it just makes up planets. And if
Yes.
people just took that verbatim, it's like, it's
It's a
terrifying.
problem. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, to your point, it's like the frameworks, the definitions, the dates.
Yes, and that LLMs are literally programmed to be agreeable and to retain engagement of a conversation to the point of it agreeing to things that just are not true. Or it will
Yeah,
say,
it's an echo chamber, basically. It can be this, like, tell me what I want to hear.
you're like, yeah, so can you print me out a PDF of this? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem. It's like, dude, you're literally locked in an app and you don't have my printer. You can't make a PDF. What? Like, what just happened?
But I agree with you. There's a way to use it, right? And so you were going to talk about how that framework to make sure that it doesn't like create a never land kind of thing.
So there's this huge anti-slop movement. Official Rising Seer stances, we're anti-slop too. We're pro AI, but anti-slop. Like that, you can be both. So that's kind of the nuance of what we're getting at here and how I would describe the app. It starts with hyper accurate calculations that are not up for debate based on astrology, right? It's like hyper accurate transits, hyper accurate natal chart, hyper accurate synastry when we get there. Join our Discord. You can test it in Discord right now. But all of that data layer is hyper accurate. All of the interpretation layer, you feed it accurate definitions, and then it has the ability to weave this narrative. It goes back to what I was talking about with tarot, that my favorite part of it was being able to see the narrative that you can weave between the cards. And the light bulb moment for me was when I was testing all this stuff within ChatGPT. That was literally my first thing, is I gave it a real data model within ChatGPT and I was talking to it, and I had it do a reading for me based on the fact I was about to go play this game called Twilight Imperium. It's a board game. It takes about 12 hours to play, literally 12 hours. And I wanted to know, both from a tarot perspective and astrology, transit perspective, whatever, do I need to know going into the game in order to maximize my chances of success? And it wove a narrative that crossed tarot, astrology, my personal history, my Rising Seer insights, and then every detail of Twilight Imperium, this nerd board game that there is no tarot/astrology reader in the world that also knows Twilight Imperium. I mean, maybe there's someone that's watching this video that's like, that's me. Like, I'm literally a professional chart reader and I love Twilight. Please hit me up. I would love to talk to you about that. But anyways, my assumption is that there is no one in the world that is both a total expert in Twilight Imperium and a total expert in astrology and tarot and whatever, and then could weave all of that together masterfully. And then the moment I saw that, I was like, oh man, there is something here. That's what the app is, right? It's just using the right data, but then also using the massive potential of AI to have access to the world's history worth of training data to personalize context and responses within those guardrails and frameworks to get you these answers you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else.
The potential is insane. It's hard to fathom, to be totally honest.
I love that. And I agree.
Oh, there's so much. And I think the accuracy is a huge point, and I just want to briefly touch on it in terms of the geolocation. Take it away, Ian.
You got it. This was a funny story. It was a very recent story. So I built the core of this app a long time ago for the data side. That was locked in probably in September or October. And one of the decisions I made was being able to geocode down to the hospital level. Because from a nerd perspective, from a data perspective, I'm like, that's more accurate. Like, of course, that's what you'd want to do. But then Wind was testing the app versus other apps. She's like, well, our app's probably broken because I just tested it in 3 other apps and I got a different result. Rising Science, 40 arc minutes different. I was like, let's talk about that. So what did the other apps ask for? And she's like, oh, St. Louis, Missouri is there. She's born. I was like, what did Rising Seer ask for? She's like, my hospital. I was like, how far apart is city center downtown of St. Louis, Missouri versus the hospital? She's like 15 or 20 miles. I'm like, so Rising Seer is right and those other apps are wrong. And she had this light bulb moment like, oh my God, like we need to make content about this right now. This is such
Which
a
she
big
did.
deal.
And that was the one that I responded
Yes.
to.
I have a friend, shout out Rebecca, but she was one of probably the first 15 or so. And very quickly, she had this like panic moment where my original way that I spit out her rising sign was different. I forget what cusp she is on. She had this moment of panic. And then we figured out that actually it was because I had done the geocoding wrong because it was an old version of the app. But the point is with her hospital level of precision, it's even closer to the cusp. And she is within 2 arc minutes of cusp for her ascendant descendant axis, and then within 4 arc minutes for her IC-MC axis. The odds of that's about 1 in 500,000 that you'd be that close on both.
And people need to understand, like, the signs that are on either side of any rising sign are completely opposite energy. To be told that, even like that would cause like a shake for me too. So,
Yes.
like, it's a big deal. If you suddenly realize that your rising sign is different, your entire chart just changed. Like,
100%. For her, it's literally not just her rising sign. I mean, of course, if your rising sign changes, your descendant changes as well. But for her, her IC-MC axis would have changed too. So literally the entire way of like how you show up in the world and like what's your career anchor and what's your internal
and
anchor.
who yeah, your soul language, like who you are behind closed doors. The IC,
What?
that's where everything happens.
I'm over 7 years sober. So, recovery from
That's amazing.
salt.
High five.
What's funny is I literally got sober at 29. So it was my return, Saturn return. So there you go. Didn't know any of that at the time. And then I'm looking back, I'm like, oh shit. Like, oh wow, that's trippy. I have ADHD. Like I have some things that generally work against me, but then being able to name the things and spot the things and look at the patterns and then just like sort of put words to it is empowering in and of itself, let alone then giving me a framework to talk about it, to look at it ongoing.
Okay, so how many hours have you been sleeping on average, Ian?
I have a 4-month-old baby, so that doesn't help anything for the sleep thing. I mean, on average, 6. It's not terrible.
I don't think so. You're working around the clock. That's what I want people to understand. Is like the founder of this company. Is what I'm trying to emphasize is the amount of commitment and passion that you have for this. And it is in many ways your baby, and it's great that the team is building, but ultimately like people need to know that like your face is behind this and that you are dedicated. And like you said, there's hills willing to die on in this app and you are okay with that.
While this goes out the door and needs a whole bunch of love and attention from me, that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. As in the meantime, I'm showing up for her and Noah as much as possible, but it's not as much as I should be. And so we're all on the same page. And this is not a permanent plan.
Passion for this app is fueling it forward, and sleep isn't necessary right now and going to amount to this amazing product for everybody else. And then, yes, you're going to rebalance and it will all be great.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. And it's the kind of thing that have moments where it drives me crazy and I get very frustrated with the technology side because I'm not an engineer yet. I'm tasked with so much engineering things. I'm a product guy. I love product. But, then there's a whole lot of other moments where it's so fun. I mean, especially like building the Discord community alongside you and others and just like
Well, just
getting
the community aspect of it is really fun to be able to like nerd out along other people just in general about astrology, whether it's like through memes or what have you. It's fun.
Yeah, so that stuff is just super enjoyable no matter what. And yeah, so I can't wait for the app to get to a steady state so then I can achieve a little bit more balance in my life. That'll
Right.
be great.
And moving forward, the app, in theory, way in the future, will likely incorporate some sort of community element within it, right? Like that's
Yes.
like the
Yes.
end game. And Discord is kind of filling that need right now, but not
100%. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know Discord, it's excellent in a lot of ways and it's heinous in a lot of ways. So you gotta get through the initial pain of like, what is this and how do I use it? But once you get through that pain, and then you see me and Steph and Wind and all the people just like interacting,
yeah.
having fun. It's worth it. But yeah, it's not user friendly at first. That's a fact.
No, but you'll make it better eventually. So it'll all get that. Thank you. Okay. And then when's launch date officially?
So end of the day tomorrow is the deadline for us submitting to the App Store, which we're already approved in test flight, which means that the net difference shouldn't be a terrible review process. But you never know if it's going to take 3 hours or if it's going to take a week. Like literally, you don't know. So I hope that means we're live by the end of this week. Worst case scenario is we go live towards the beginning of next week.
All right. But keep an eye on like Rising Seer, TikTok page and stuff, or even my page.
That's it.
Keep you in the know or join Discord. That's even better.
That's the best. Please do. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. This was good.
Thank you, Steph.